Coming up on Network Africa, Information Minister for Somaliland tests positive for COVID-19 amid fears of a second wave in the country. Tanzania arrests the owner of a school where 10 pupils died in a dormitory fire. Plus, Rwanda prosecutors say Paul Rusesabagina may face 25 years to life in prison if he's convicted of various offences. Thank you for joining us this hour. Welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo says West African leaders hope to see a civilian-led government installed in Mali within days. He spoke after talks between regional leaders and the military junta that seized power in the country last month. Mr. Akufo-Addo said the regional bloc, ECOWAS, would lift sanctions the minute civilians were in place to take over in Mali. He also adds that no agreement has been reached with the military junta and that a mediating mission would return to Mali next week to try to resolve the outstanding issues. ECOWAS leaders met in Ghanaian capital Accra on Tuesday for talks on Mali's political crisis. The leader of Mali's junta, Colonel Assimi Goïta, as well as representatives from the United Nations and African Union were also present. The Information Minister of the breakaway state of Somaliland has tested positive for COVID-19 amid concerns of a second wave of infections. The minister, Suleiman Ali, who was on a peace and mediation tour in Sul area, said he was feeling okay and he would go into isolation and continue discharging his duties. He warned that coronavirus is still a risk and that people should follow guidelines put in place to prevent its spread. Somaliland is in dispute with the neighboring semi-autonomous Somali region of Puntland over the Sanag and Sul areas, some of which its inhabitants owe their allegiance to the Puntland. Well, most states' governors appear to set the gap in the health sector exposed by the COVID-19 pandemic here in Nigeria. Adamawa State Governor Umaru Fintiri, during the foundation laying ceremony of 2 cottage hospitals in the state, promised that a lot more is being done to uplift the sector. The governor is concerned that despite the growing population, successive administrations in the state did not consider the importance of building befitting health facilities across the state, which has made the fight of the COVID-19 pandemic more cumbersome.
The COVID-19 pandemic has not only brought about a new normal globally, but it has swept through countries unannounced. In Nigeria, the pandemic exposed the setbacks in the health sector, which some governors like that of Adamawa State are now trying to correct. It's against this backdrop that the state is invigorating its drive towards providing adequate health care for its residents as a way of checkmating the community spread of COVID-19. Residents of Gombe and Gire turn out in their large numbers from across the local government areas to witness the foundation-laying ceremony of a new cottage hospital for them. Governor Umar Fintiri, accompanied by members of the State Executive Council, state legislators and stakeholders, performed the ceremony. A community leader from Gombe says he's appalled by the havoc wreaked on the sector by previous administrations, while the Commissioner for Health appeals for support to turn things around.
It's so terrible on health challenges. When you have a sick person, you have to go to Garkida, or you go to Hong, or you go to Yola. You can now see that you need to cover a long distance before you get to see a doctor.
The cottage hospital is a 60-bed capacity hospital with all the clinical departments inclusive.
For the governor, this may not be the right time to trade blames, By the time government should work with all citizens of the state and ensure that the primary healthcare system is revived.
My government is taking every step to ensure that our primary healthcare system is made resilient and fortified enough to address emerging challenges.
For many witnessing today's event, the expectation is to see a rapid construction work that will bring about the completion of the cottage hospital, as this is one of the ways to prove that government is not paying lip service to healthcare.
A spate of corruption scandals during the COVID-19 pandemic has further fueled frustration among some South Africans with the ruling African National Congress ANC party and its failure to tackle graft despite renewed promises from President Cyril Ramaphosa. Reports of suspect deals between state officials and businesses providing medical equipment as well as food aid parcels to the poor have sparked outrage in a country which has recorded the highest number of cases on the African continent.
A spate of corruption scandals during the coronavirus crisis has left many South Africans feeling disillusioned with the governing African National Congress, ANC. People feel hurt that family members of senior ANC politicians have been implicated in brazen schemes to milk the state when they are struggling to feed themselves and find work.
Usually this involves government paying inflated prices for PPEs or just stealing the PPE money, the kind of prices that makes you think you're getting a Rolex with your face mask, like you had like your hand sanitizer comes with stock options, like our politicians heard about the damage that the virus is going to do and decided to compete. We are screwed. And Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, acted. He acted like he had the answer to Jacob Zuma's corruption, and it turns out he does have the answer. More corruption.
Some say the scandals show how little progress has been made under Cyril Ramaphosa, who staked his reputation on restoring the reputation of the liberation movement of Nelson Mandela when he became ANC leader in December 2017. As a result, political satirists are having a field day.
My name is Chester Missing. I am a South African puppet. I'm made out of latex, so I'm basically a PPE. Now, our politicians have been stealing the money meant to fight coronavirus. They've been stealing it, and nobody was surprised. We would have been surprised if they hadn't stolen the money.
Locals also expressed a disgruntlement about the ANC, saying they feel hopeless about the corruption within the party. Although people are fed up, few believe the ANC will lose its grip on power anytime soon.
I think South Africans have accepted corruption as our permanent status quo. What South Africans have accepted is that their ability to intervene is paralyzed by the fact that the judicial system is so lethargic, and the people that tend to get accused tend to have much greater access to financial capital, so they can delay and fight their way through the courts, which makes the whole process of it seem meaningless.
State investigators have started probing irregularities in tenders worth more than 5 billion rand, and the Auditor General has uncovered indications of fraud in the government's COVID-19 response package.
The Kenyan government has included neighboring Tanzania on its list of countries whose travelers are exempted from mandatory quarantine upon arrival. The move is considered controversial as Tanzania has not published figures of COVID-19 cases in months. The two East African nations have been locked in a diplomatic standoff since May, when Kenya blocked Tanzanian truck drivers from entering the country. The Kenyan government had long feared that his neighbor was not transparent on how it dealt with the pandemic, but the tension seems to be cooling off now. Authorities require all arriving travelers to have a COVID-19 free certificate. Passengers with body temperatures above 37.5 degrees will be quarantined upon arrival in Kenya. The country has more than 36,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 600 deaths. Meanwhile, Tanzania has also lifted the ban on Kenyan flights. The police in Tanzania have arrested the owner of a school where 10 pupils died in a dormitory fire on Monday. 7 other pupils were also injured during the fire and have been admitted to hospital in the northwestern Kagera region. Tanzania's Inspector General of Police, Simon Siro, says investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the fire at the Biamungu English Medium Primary School. However, preliminary findings indicate that the dormitory was not built to proper standards. School fire tragedies are common in the region, and there are calls for enhanced safety in institutions. In July, 3 students were killed in the main city, Dar es Salaam, after a dormitory at Ilala Islamic Secondary School caught fire. Well, prosecutors in Rwanda say Paul Rusesabagina may face 25 years to life in prison if convicted of various offences. Rusesabagina, who was portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood movie about Rwanda's 1994 genocide, was charged in a Kigali court with 13 counts, including terrorism, complicity in murder, and forming or joining an irregular armed group. Faustin Nkusi, the spokesperson for the Rwanda's prosecution authority, says for some of the crimes he may face 25 years and some even go up to life imprisonment. Mr. Rusesabagina has declined to respond to all the charges on Monday, saying he wanted to take a plea to each individual count. The court is expected to rule on bail this Thursday. Now, his case has thrust a spotlight onto President Paul Kagame's government, which stands accused by rights groups of stifling dissent. The federal government of Nigeria is promising to ensure that affected Nigerian traders in Ghana get justice following concerns over some stiff business regulations imposed by the Ghanaian authorities. This was made known during the meeting between Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and representatives of the Nigerian community in Ghana. The Vice President explained that the delay in resolving the issues may be due to government bureaucracies, but will make sure that the best is done to see that the traders are treated justly. The meeting took place at the official residence of the Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana, where Professor Osinbajo assured the leaders and traders in the Nigerian community who interacted with him for an hour. Well, we have joining us now on the program Mr. Kizito Obiora, the National Vice President of the Nigerian Union of Traders Association in Ghana. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Mr. Obiora, you were at that meeting. Do tell us more on what Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said to the Nigerian community.
Yeah, yesterday we have an opportunity to meet with our Vice President, His Excellency Yemi Osinbajo. And by special grace of God, he brought us a message of hope. We believe that our government will surely accomplish all the promises he made to us.
All right, Mr. Obiora, with these assurances from the federal government, are you confident, or is the union in Ghana confident that these issues will be resolved?
It's not easy for us. And we are still pleading with our government to do whatever they want to, let them do it fast, because our people are dying. Our people are dying. It's not easy for us here now. So we are just pleading that our government will come up with something so that they will open our shops, we'll go back to our business. Then at the end of the day, whatever be the agreement, whatever be the outcome of the negotiation between the two governments, I'm sure that the problem will not be from us, we the Nigerian traders here in Ghana. Rather, if there will be any problem, it will come from their own side. So we are pleading with our government to do whatever fast so that we'll go back to our businesses, because our people are dying.
All right, just before I let you go, Mr. Kizito, so far, has there been any response from the Ghanaian authorities, especially on the locking up of your shops?
The main annoying part in this situation is the way Ghanaians are maltreating us. Especially the way they're feeding our government with many lies. The way they're feeding our government with lies. Could you believe that they told our government that they have opened all the shops, remaining very few of them which have problem with some documentation? But that is total lie. All the shops they have closed since then, they have never opened a single of those shops up to today. All the shops are still under lock and key. Even just yesterday, because our people have been going to their office, let me use Ashanti region, Kumasi precisely where I'm championing. Let me use it as an example. Our people are going to their office. When you go there with your documents, they will just find a way to turn you back. They won't even tell you anything.
All right, then, Mr. Kizito Obiora, National Vice President of the Nigerian Union of Traders Association in Ghana. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
Still to come on Network Africa. Conservationists are alarmed in Egypt as the country cuts highways across the Pyramids Plateaus, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. The Mozambican army has condemned the apparent execution of a naked woman by men wearing military uniforms, shown in a video footage where she's beaten with a stick before she's shot in the back as she tries to flee. In the footage circulated, the group referred to the woman as Al-Shabaab, a local term for an Islamist insurgent group that has been operating in the north of the country since 2017. The video is said to have been filmed in the northernmost province of Cabo Delgado, where soldiers are fighting an Islamist insurgency. However, rights group Amnesty International says it is not the first of such allegation against the military in Mozambique.
They believe she's an insurgent. At the beginning of the video, they say she's Al-Shabaab. They always refer to her as Al-Shabaab. After they have killed her, they claim that we have killed Al-Shabaab. So they believe that it was Al-Shabaab, and that's the reason why they have killed her, according to the content of the video. So the video was filmed in Mocímboa da Praia. It's not clear when exactly it was filmed, but we know exactly where it was filmed. We're able to geolocate the place. It's a community called Awasi in Mocímboa da Praia on the highway 698. It's highway R698. That's where she was killed. And there were private sharings of the video on the 7th of September. But the video came to light on social media yesterday. That's the information that we've been able to ascertain.
Local police in Terekeka, Central Equatoria in South Sudan, are welcoming a new development to their police station, a small infrastructure project funded by the United Nations mission in the country. For the officers, the lack of support and infrastructure has been demoralizing and detrimental to the overall law and order situation.
We are supposed to deliver services for the community, to maintain peace and order. So we cannot do it without a conducive environment, which is supposed to have an office.
When my first visit to Terekeka, maybe after I joined, maybe after 6 weeks, 6 months later, then I visited Terekeka. The first scene I saw that was the prisoners. There was a detained people. They were chained in the tree. So, and under the same tree where they chained people is now we constructed a police station, much more dignity for the human beings.
The purpose of the police station, as we are all aware, it's all contributing to the rule of law in South Sudan. The police is at the starting point of the justice chain. If the police is going to work with the community, is accessible to the community, then the community can come forward and report and know that the security are there and know that law and order will also be addressed.
try to fill in gaps that exist that no other development partner is able to support, and where the government itself may not have adequate resources to cover. So this is a gap-filling measure, and those rule of law, administration of justice systems particularly improve and enhance security and aid return of people, or they help to stabilize communities from insecurity.
Young ones in Somalia will play a big role in helping to develop their country. That's according to the former UN Youth Advisor for Somalia, João Scrapellini. Mr. Scrapellini made this known at a special virtual meeting of the United Nations Security Council on Youth, Peace and Security.
Somali youths gather here in Mogadishu from all regions of the East African country. It is one of such efforts by the youths to proffer solution to the peace and security challenges confronting the country. These youths are informal groups of volunteers that are finding ways to mobilize their peers.
Although young Somalis face many challenges and have very limited opportunities, long before the adoption of Resolution 2250, they have been working to create change, to build peace, and to accelerate development.
The United Nations Security Council on Youth, Peace and Security is calling for a virtual meeting co-hosted by France and the Dominican Republic, which allows for sharing lessons and implementing resolutions on youth, peace and security. UN officials speak about their respective departments' work in supporting the implementation of the resolutions and best practices in implementing the youth, peace and security agenda by UN missions.
The continued support of member states, and importantly, the Security Council, is needed to make further progress on this agenda. We must build on the fact that the active participation and inclusion of young people in political processes in peace building is no longer viewed as an optional or as an afterthought. It has rightly become one of the cornerstones of the sustaining peace agenda.
Young people are essential actors of peace. In order for them to have this opportunity, their needs need to be addressed, their voices amplified, and their engagement advanced.
The United Nations Council highlights the key role that young people can play in conflict prevention, conflict resolution, peace building, and sustaining peace, as well as the importance of facilitating youth participation and leadership in these areas.
Egypt is building 2 highways across the Pyramids Plateau outside Cairo, reviving and expanding a project that was suspended in the 1990s after an international outcry. The Great Pyramids, Egypt's top tourist destination, are the sole survivor of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the plateau is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The highways are part of an infrastructure push spearheaded by Egypt's powerful military and championed by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who is building a new capital city to ease the population pressure on Cairo, that's home to 20 million people. However, critics say this would cause irrevocable damage to one of the world's most important heritage sites.
The new road, it's a link road between Helwan and the new settlements of 6th of October City, and involves a new bridge across the Nile between Helwan and the town of Bedrashain. So this new road will skirt the eastern side of the ruin field, the archaeological zone of Memphis.
Normally, in a World Heritage Site or in the buffer zone, because the World Heritage Site has a buffer zone around it, which allows some construction, provided there's been an environmental impact study made before. And if the environmental study is negative and says that it might...
And that's where we end Network Africa today. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.